Hi there, I'm Lyndon Thorpe, as you know, if you've watched previous events on the Escape the 9 to 5 Grind. And today is event 3 for, especially for US East Coast and East Canada people. This is a second event, especially to accommodate your time zone. So I hope you can join me. If you haven't seen previous events 1 and 2, I'll mention them briefly in my presentation. But yes, of course, basically, it's better if you can attend all the events or watch all the events on the replays. It is a consecutive series of events, and one level leads to the next. So really, if you haven't watched the earlier events, it's a really good idea to catch up with that. Well, for this series of events, I've made a live workbook. Just 1 second, I'll just get rid of this. That's it. Yes, I've made a live e-workbook, which is part of the whole sequence of Escape the 9 to 5 Grind. And this allows you to keep up with the events. And because it's live, it means that I'm constantly adding to it as a result of running the events. And the 9 a.m. events are now in week 7. So we've been running for 7 weeks now. The Escape the 9 to 5 Grind live e-workbook is a living document, and you need to buy it. It's not free, and it costs $9.95, but it's a lifetime license, and so you'll be able to use it forever. Let me just take you inside, and you can see at the beginning here is the introduction, the whole reason for running these events. These are my websites, which I've created in the last 8 months, 4 of them. They're all connected with wealth attraction, wealth creation. And then we get to the events. So each event has various texts to read, has breathing exercises, affirmations, and opportunity to self-reflect. So because this is an interactive publication, you can type on here and you can make a record of all the things that you have learnt during the event. Then there are lots of videos, which I'm constantly uploading, and a space to react to those videos. Many people have told me that they, get all sorts of inspiration during such events, and it's really great if they can make notes. So I've made this possible. And so we go through each event. And at the back of the book, there are many other resources too. Now, this is a constantly growing document. You'll be able to go more deeply into each theme and spend time reflecting on what you feel. Escaping the 9 to 5 Grind is really largely about mindset shifts. And so there's a lot to consider. And this live ebook gives you that opportunity to spend time and not be rushed by the event presentation, which is only 45 minutes long. So during each of the events, weekly events, I top up these events, and then you can access that. And workbook and the flip guide, and these will be sent to you along with the replay of this event 3 session by email to you and you'll be able to look at the guide and possibly get the workbook. And so, you know, before we meet again, which will be next Wednesday, these events are always on Wednesday. This one is always at noon on Wednesday. Before we meet again, you can go more deeply into the topic, and hopefully we can have discussion and so on. So the title of this week's event is, you may think you're just like everyone else, but this is another conspiracy. There are many conspiracies that surround work and the traditional work model. And I'm going to be talking about those in some detail. Moving on a little bit. It's always good to think reflectively, okay? And so the first question before we start the presentation I'd like you to think about is, do you know anyone else exactly like you? Okay, so think carefully. I'll tell you the answer to that in a moment, okay? And the next question is, what do you excel at? And when do you feel most engaged? Now, these are two pretty important questions for setting up a business, for finding your niche and your target market. You need to look closely at what makes you different to everybody else. What are your special skills? What is your special perspective on life? And when do you feel the most engaged? Now, maybe you go to work and come back, and then you do something that makes you feel really happy, makes you feel engaged. Could be anything. It could be cooking. It might be drinking good wine. It could be looking at your stamp collection. It might be doing some gym training. It could be any one of 5 billion things. But yes, I'd like you to think, when do you feel most engaged during your days? You need to think deeply about that before we go much further. Maybe you have, in your past, enjoyed doing something, a hobby or a sport or something special. And maybe latterly, because of your responsibilities and because of your 9-to-5 grind, gobbling up all your time and energy, maybe you've forgotten about that. So go back and think, when in the past were you most engaged? When were you happiest? And then the final question is, what are your secret dreams that you never thought possible? Now, I think everybody has secrets. We all have an inner world, our inner universe. And maybe there are things that happen in that inner space that you never share with others. However, if you're thinking of making a successful business for your future, to establish your ID on the internet and in the global community, you may have to divulge that passion or that dream. We'll talk about that a little more in a moment. So these 3 questions are really important. Do you know anyone else exactly like you? What do you excel at? When do you feel the most engaged? And what are your secret dreams or passions? Okay, moving on. Now, in event 1, just to remind you, and if you didn't attend or didn't watch, it was called The Real Truth About Breaking the 9-to-5 Chains. And in event 1, I told my story, which is about retiring 2 years ago and feeling numb for several months and exhausted, burnt out after a lifetime of work. And then finally, slowly waking up and realizing that I had totally neglected myself, that maybe during vacations I had started to think about my passions, but then work came into play again. and I was forced to go back into my routine. And so, yeah, it's important to remember that 85% currently of the workforce surveyed by Gallup reported having unfulfilling jobs. So it's very true that people work to earn a living, to support their family, to pay their mortgage, but probably not very much else. In fact, I've been talking recently to a lot of people who really hate their job, but they can see no alternative. Now, event 2 was called The Ancient Little-Known Secret of Getting Everything You Want in Life. And yes, this is also about your ideal life, your passions, what you really would like to spend all your time doing but can't because of your job. And this was rooted quite deeply in 2 emotions. One is called gratitude, and the other one is called happiness. And in fact, they are interrelated. So if you feel grateful for your life, for your existence, for your breath, as I do, now I'm getting older, I wake up every morning being terribly grateful that I kept breathing all night. And breathing oxygen, which the earth generates, specially so we human beings can survive. And other animal species, of course, mammals. And so if we're grateful, this is a great way to start the day. And it does lead to true happiness. And during my first-hand life, since I started working in the limelight, I have been truly happy, and I continue to be. Yeah, research shows that there's more than 25% increase in happiness if gratitude is practiced. They are really related. And just briefly, I'm afraid gratitude is a kind of unfashionable thing, it seems. It's disappeared or disappearing. And in its place, we have things like anger, because most of us living in the developed world have everything we need. We have comfort, we have convenience. Okay, we have to work, we have to pay for those things. But it's destroyed our sense of awe. So 500 years ago, people had an amazing sense of awe for the planet, for their existence, maybe for their faith in whatever they believed in. But gradually that has disappeared, and it's unfortunately, it's created a situation where people are angry. Yeah. Anger has replaced gratitude, it seems. And anger comes when you can't get what you want. And so, if you rely on electricity and the electricity fails, then maybe you get very angry. Okay. So no longer do we have gratitude for electricity, that we can switch a switch and we can see in the dark. It's been replaced by resentment if it goes wrong. This is a very sad state of affairs, and something I work hard with people to try and change. So those are events 1 and 2. Please look back at the recordings, the replays, and if you look back in the Startup Guide and the e-workbook, you'll be able to go more deeply into those topics. So, knowing the truth about 9 to 5 hourly paid work and rekindling the positive emotion of gratitude to increase happiness. Okay, let's assume you can do those things. Now, what comes next? Well, as we can see from the image, this beautiful creature standing in the limelight and feeling a sense of her existence. And if we think about our existence We can think about DNA, as we know now through the amazing scientific discovery of DNA. We have very unique DNA, each of us, as we have unique fingerprints, thumbprints. And this DNA goes back through our ancestral line, right back to the very beginning of existence. Not just recorded time, but right back into deep time when existence first started, going back some 30 million years. Yeah, DNA is our anchor to our ancestors. And although you may never think much about your ancestors, they are there. And you may hear from other members of your family that, oh, you are just like your grandmother, or you're just like your great-grandfather. He loved this, or he did this every day. So those tendencies or proclivities are handed down through the genes. Yeah, it's true. My grandmother was a superb gardener. And although my mother was not and hated it, I am a superb gardener. I love gardening. It's my life. And I love to be on the earth gardening. So yeah, think about your DNA and your ancestors. The next thing to consider is that we are all purely individual, and we have individual skill sets. You may have the same mathematical aptitude as somebody else in objective measured terms, but in fact, there'll be something different about the way you use numbers. Our minds are unique. The way we are created and wired, our nervous systems and so on, are unique. And so we are truly individuals. And it's a cliche, but even identical twins are not identical. They may have similar DNA, but they've got different DNA, different structure. We also need to think about talents. And, you know, you may have an amazing talent, which you don't really regard as anything special. So I want you to think about that as well. For example, you might be a superb cook. You might be extremely good at playing tennis. You might be a wonderful pianist, but you don't really regard those as special because you've been so busy with the 9-to-5 grind that all your sense of awe for your own talents has been drained out of you. And this is what the 9-to-5 grind, commuting, workspaces with antagonistic colleagues and so on, tension, stress. This is what drums out of you your appreciation of yourself. In fact, you may feel extremely dissociated from yourself and your real nature. And it's only when you settle down on your day off that you begin to feel alive again and begin to get in touch with what makes you, your uniqueness. We also need to think about our passions and our predilections. I'm a passionate educator, always have been, always will be. I love the idea of moving people from the darkness into the light. That's been my life's work, and I'm still doing it, of motivating people to make a change in their lives, to find true happiness. So what's your passion? What really excites you? It could be baseball, it might be oysters, it could be perfume, it could be any one of billions of things. What is it that really sets you alight? Okay, and what are your predilections? What do you really enjoy when you've got time to enjoy things? Yes, so your energy levels are important. And if you're in the 9-to-5 grind, you may find that you're exhausted by the end of the week and you can't wait for the weekend. and then you're exhausted during the weekend, and it's only on Sunday night that you begin to feel back to normal and get a bit of energy. And then you go to bed with a feeling of dread because you know you've got to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, put on your uniform, get on the train or the bus or in your car and go to the workplace. You may feel like that. You may not. You may be happy in your work. And if you are, I'm thrilled, really am. And yes, your spirit. Yeah. Are you positive? Are you negative? Living the lives we live with the 9-to-5 grind very often means that people lose their spirit. They just give in. They become passive. They do their job. They keep their mouths shut, and they collect their paycheck. And they take their 2 weeks vacation every year, and so on. Okay, we become very passive, kind of dehumanized with this continual grind, working for somebody else, feathering somebody else's cap and nest for an hourly rate. I mentioned that last week in event 2. Do you really settle for an hourly rate? Is that your value? Anyway, moving on. Oh, your heart. Yes, I forgot about this. Yeah, people's hearts are closed because the 9-to-5 grind is so roboticizing. It makes us into robots. We do the same thing day in, day out. We meet the same people, maybe, and our hearts just close because we know we have to bite the bullet and get on with this to earn the money that supports our lifestyle, we think. Yes, this word conspiracy. Have a look at these bureaucrats. Yeah, I'm afraid that we have been tricked, most of us, into the belief that having a regular, secure job is all that we're fit for in life. Holding down that job, being respectable, getting promotion maybe, bringing in the money. This emanates from the, I'm afraid to say, being British myself, from the British Empire. Queen Victoria's empire was so huge that she needed thousands of bureaucrats to help her run it. And so the idea of a workforce of employees all sitting, working away for an hourly rate grew to become the norm. Same in education. We accept that education is sitting at a desk with 29 other kids or people, learning something from one teacher, not questioning, just absorbing what we're taught, being conditioned. You know, we accept that. It's unacceptable. Yes, we'll talk more about that later. But yes, you have been part of a conspiracy about traditional work. Yeah. Some years ago, I lived with a tribe of Australian Aboriginals. And I, as a project member, it was a Rotary Club project, actually, to help move some elderly Australian Aboriginals, Native people, First Nations, back to Arnhem Land, which is in the very centre of Australia and is now designated as Aboriginal territory. And, you know, white Australians are not allowed to go in there. Sacred lands. So I'm very proud to say, part of a project that helped these people move back. And they were very elderly, quite sick, because they'd been fed on Western style food. Aboriginals catch their food and eat everything naturally from the earth and so on. But they'd been tricked into living a convenient life in white fella style, as they called it. And they were quite sick. Diabetes was very common because too much sugar, this kind of thing. Sugar is not a natural product, not refined sugar anyway. So the leader of this tribe was called Ninijah, and she was very ancient, and she was the traditional landowner for thousands of miles of the South Australian desert. And she was highly spiritually evolved. So I was so honored to meet her. And one day I asked her through an interpreter, she didn't speak English. She spoke Pitjantjatjara, which was her native tongue. I asked her how she saw existence, what it looked like as a First Nation member, as an inhabitant of Earth. And in translation, she said, every sentient being is a vital stitch in the tapestry of life, the tapestry of all life. So she saw each species, including humans, as a different stitch in this massive tapestry, different color, different size. So how about your stitch? Is it faded? Is it broken? Is it shrunken? Is it missing altogether? Only when all the stitches of the tapestry of all life, of which we are all part, are rejuvenated, repaired, restored, will on Earth work. And we can see natural disasters, climate change, etc., the chaos of war that is happening all over the world today, conflicts. The world is not working properly. Yeah. And that's because we are not working properly as human beings. Okay, so think about your stitch, your stitch. What condition is it in? A really moving quotation. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you really are. This is Carl Jung, a famous psychologist and mythologist and so on, such a talented man. I think he hit the nail on the head. Yeah. Who are you? Are you really who you think you are? Or are you so removed from your true nature that you don't really know who you are anymore? And another amazing quotation, every man or human is an end in himself, not a means to an end of others. He or she must live for his or her own sake. Now, this is another of my heroes, Ayn Rand. And if you can get a chance, or if you have already, to read her two amazing magnum opus, please do. Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead. These are two books that changed my life. In fact, they're very much part of this campaign, and you'll find me quoting from Ayn Rand quite a lot. And you can see this image which I've created. It's an AI image, is a meditational image. I'm a Buddhist priest, actually, by training. I've been a Buddhist most of my life. And meditation and mindfulness are my stock in trade. And so if you choose to follow me and work with me, these will figure quite large. This is the way to find your true nature and to find true happiness, which everybody is seeking. Okay, so if you want to live happily, you have to embody your true nature. Now, those words may not mean very much to you at the moment. If you stay with me, they will. Because to get to your true nature, we have to, first of all, strip away many layers of social conditioning and social voices which dictate how we behave and expectations. And human beings love to seek approval of their peers and other people around them. They don't have much courage about striking out. They want to be approved of. That has its pitfalls. So if you want to embody your true nature, you need to embrace your individuality. You are unique. There is nobody like you, ever, anywhere on the planet. You are the most recent version of your DNA, unique. And you need to escape the 9-to-5 grind. You need to get out of that routine, which is slowly suffocating you. And I hope you will join us here on Escape the 9-to-5 Grind to help create a future where your uniqueness shines out in the limelight of the internet. Okay. So, yes, it's time for you to step out of your second-hand life into the brilliant limelight of your first-hand life. And you need to do it quickly. You need to do it today. And I have spent many months designing and creating various training here on Escape the 9-to-5 Grind to help you to step away from the shadows. Many people are starting to do this, which is so exciting. We're in a very exciting stage of our development and evolution. You know, it's said that human beings are 100% physically evolved, that our bodies are miraculous and they will not evolve any further. They are really a miracle. However, some scientists and philosophers and so on reckon that we are only 10% spiritually and emotionally evolved, which is why we can't live in peace. The world is in constant conflict and chaos. And this is something I hope to try in a small way to help to change. Okay, so this is Escape the 9-to-5 Grind, Financial Mastery with the Anti-9-to-5 Income Plan. That's the complete title of the campaign. And as I mentioned earlier, the first part is my part with various trainings, mindset trainings, website creation, and so on and so forth. And then my partner, Michael Cheney, will join me for the final part, which is the Financial Mastery with his Anti-9-to-5 Income Plan training, which is a 5-video series, free training. And if you get through that and it makes sense to you, then there's a good chance that you will be invited to be his apprentice, as I was 7 months ago. Okay, let's look and see what the next steps are. Well, yes, you may be thinking, oh, I don't know what's happening. I don't understand all this. And especially if you're only joining me for the first time. So, yeah, it's the best thing I can offer you, free of charge, to help you to decide what you want to do about your future. Join me in a free 30-minute Zoom session. And in fact, the Calendly link I pointed out is in the startup guide. And you can make your own appointment anytime, and I will be there. And I will advise you how to proceed, what to do first. I'll do a needs analysis of your situation. And there are many scenarios, you know. You may be too scared to cut the chains with your 9-to-5 grind because you've got lots of responsibilities, and I really feel that. I know you're scared, and I feel that with you. So I have many ways in which you can begin to prepare to cut those chains. You can etch away at other things, like, for example, creating your own website. And I can show you how to do that in 6 steps. And then you've got your own real estate on the internet. This is something only you can control. It's your legacy. And everyone needs a website. Everyone. Yeah. So there are many things you can start to do now to create new streams of income, new directions that take you away from the 9-to-5 grind. And I'm here to advise you. I've done it. I've been in your situation. I know it well. And as I told you, my story is that, for 6 months after I retired from full-time work, full-time 9-to-5 grind, I was a zombie. I was burnt out. I had no motive to do anything in life at all. I just laid around recovering. And then gradually I started to wake up and realize that my time was now, that this was my first-hand life, and it was time to step into it. So I've done it. I've created 4 websites, and I have the power to share that with you and encourage you to get on with it. It's a long process. You can't do it overnight. Many changes, many transformations need to happen. So please claim your spot. It's free. It's yours. I'm here, and I can advise you very quickly about how to proceed and get started on moving out of those shadows. Now, just a word about your first digital venture. I've created a 6-step series. It's free training. It's yours. You can claim it whenever you like. It's 6 steps, and it's blended learning. So it's will suit you if you are not a reader, prefer to watch videos, or if you're a reader, you can read. If you like listening, there's audio. There are challenges. There are periods of reflection, all involved in helping you to quickly to make the transformation so that you can start to think of your digital ID for the future. No technical skills are required. You may think, oh no, I'm hopeless with technical things. Doesn't matter. You don't need any skills. I'm here, and I have all the skills you need. And I'll be moving you towards creating your own website, guiding you right through to step 6, when you will have a free, fully functional website, which we can create in less than 2 minutes. Yeah, I've done it. I've got 4. I promise you, it's very easy. But first, we need to get your mindset right. We need to decide on your niche. We need to decide which of your passions or talents we should market, and so on, before you actually create the website. And then once it's created, I will continue to guide you, and we can build an amazing website. My 4 websites are now ranking with Google quite well. I'm getting traffic. People are visiting me, and I'm able to sell things, products, and get affiliate commissions. And so I'm really starting to make an income from my websites. And yes, I can give you further mentoring if needed to get you really launched with your website. I'm a content creator. I write in the region of 20 articles a week. and I publish in various places, and I can easily show you how to do that. Okay, these are my websites, just to remind you about them. They are all connected to the Anti-9 to 5 income plan. Jambala Wealth is my Buddhist site. Now, I earlier told you I'm a Buddhist priest. I've been practicing as a Buddhist for many, many years. And Jambala Wealth is a Tibetan Buddhist site. And Tibetan Buddhism really believes in accumulating wealth, unlike the image of Buddhists who are meant to be, just own the robes they stand up in and beg for food and so on. That's not exactly the whole picture. We want to attract wealth so we can empower others. So that's what I'm doing. I'm attracting wealth so that I can do these kind of campaigns. My plan is to go all over the world and speak about this campaign. I need money for that. So Jambala Wealth is a really interesting site. Millionaire Mindset Roadmap is more psychological. It's for novice millionaires. If you really want to become a millionaire, I can provide all you need to get started on your journey and show you what it takes. Flourish Right Consult is a digital nomad site and remote worker site. We're all remote workers, or many of us are. Something like 75% of workers now are at least sometime during every working week remote. And so, yeah, this site really caters for people on the move or people working from home. And again, mindset, spiritual strategies and so on figure large on that website. And First Hand Life, this is really dedicated to the Escape the 9 to 5 Grind because it's a beginner's business, internet business site, and it's called First Hand Life. So in other words, for people who are stepping out of the shadows, this site will provide so many resources that you need, so many strategies and knowledge, and will give you a really good foundation to set up your successful path. Now, you may be in the position where you have a website, maybe you have a few websites, maybe you are making income on the side, maybe you've got some, income streams set up already, in which case you may like to go directly to the Anti-9 to 5 income plan with my partner, Michael Cheney. And this is included. It's free training. You sign up on a page that looks like this, and you go directly to his trainings, and he will get you ready to master financial aspects of becoming a netpreneur. As I mentioned, he's been a netpreneur for 25 years. He stayed in his traditional job for 2 years, hated it, couldn't stand any longer there, so left, and was determined then to make an income from the internet. He put his heart and soul into it, and now he's a multimillionaire, and he's leaving his legacy to people like me. So I'm his apprentice, and he's teaching me everything he knows. So I'm on the millionaire track too. He is my mentor, and he is truly inspirational. So it's time to break free and create your ideal life. You dream about it, I'm sure. Everybody does. Various scenarios. Maybe you're sitting on a yacht on a beautiful, clear ocean with a glass of champagne in your hand, with the wind in your hair, and you don't have to get on a train and sit at a desk. You can work on your phone. So yes, as a netpreneur, you can work anywhere, as long as you have a laptop and Wi-Fi. So it's such freedom. Yeah. And I like this image, which I created using AI. to show that the fact that we are part of the universe, but we are unique. Like each planet is unique. We are unique planets, if you like. And it's time in this digital revolution that we step forward and share our individuality with other like-minded people. So your niche market, your passion, your talent will attract a market of people, an audience, and you will be in a position where you can help them, you can share with them, you can learn from them too, and you can build a community, an internet community, a digital community, which, by the way, UNESCO says is the most wonderful thing about the future. Yeah, who knows what's going to happen in the future? We have natural disasters. I live in Japan. We've just had a massive earthquake here. We are on high alert for another massive earthquake, which could shake the whole of Honshu, the main island. I've got my bag packed at the door. I've got my helmet in the hallway. You know, we are in an incredibly dangerous situation here in Japan, like other countries, because the world is crumbling, collapsing, and the future has to be different. We have to change. We have to change. We need to be the change that we want to see. That's Mahatma Gandhi. Great quote. Okay. So, yeah, it's time to break free and create your ideal life. You are unique. So, coming back to you, sorry, my presentation was a little long today, but there's a lot to say. I hope you've got something good from this, and I hope that you'll book an appointment with me to discuss your next steps. Please look at the startup guide, which you should get in an email very soon, and the replay of this, so you can go back and watch it at your leisure. And yeah, I'm here. I'm waiting to work with people who want to transform and create their own future, unswervingly devoted to their own creativity, their own thought processes, their own judgments, and no longer compromising, no longer sacrificing. Remember, we are an end in ourselves. Each human is an end in his or herself. We are not other people's slaves. It's time to break with those 9-to-5 chains and escape the 9-to-5 grind. Looking forward to seeing you next week. You can find the next event clearly described in the startup guide, and I'll be here same time, same place next week. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.